Have you ever looked at a situation in your life and thought, this ruined everything? Maybe it was a breakup, a betrayal, a divorce, a business failure, losing a job, getting rejected, losing money, watching a dream fall apart right in front of you. And in that moment, all you could see was what you lost. All you could feel was the disappointment, the frustration, the heartbreak, the confusion. Because let's be honest, when you're in the middle of a setback, it doesn't feel like a blessing. It doesn't feel like it's working for your good. It feels unfair. It feels painful. It feels like life is moving in the wrong direction. But what if I told you some of the greatest things that have ever happened to you will come from the situations you once wished never happened? What if the very thing you're crying about today will become the reason you're stronger tomorrow? What if your biggest setback isn't the end of your story, but the beginning of the life you're supposed to build? Because one thing that I've learned is this: life has a funny way of disguising opportunities as disappointments. And today I want to talk about why your biggest setbacks may become your greatest advantage. Because if you're going through something difficult right now, this conversation might change how you see it. Let's get into it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is deciding what something means before the story is finished. Think about it. Have you ever wanted something so badly and then it didn't happen, only to realize later that not getting it was the best thing that ever happened? Most of us have. Maybe you wanted a relationship that didn't work out. At that time, you were devastated. Then years later, you looked back and thought, thank God. Imagine if it would have worked. Imagine if you would have stayed. Imagine if you would have settled. Imagine if I would have never become the person I am today. See, the problem isn't always the setback. The problem is that we're trying to evaluate a chapter as if it's the entire book, and that's impossible. Because you don't know yet what the situation is preparing you for. You don't know what it's teaching you. You don't know what it's protecting you from. You don't know what doors it's making room for. And because you don't know, you assume the worst. But life isn't over. The story isn't finished. And what feels like a disaster today may become the very thing you thank God for tomorrow. And here's what most people don't realize. Comfort hides your strength. Adversity reveals it. Nobody discovers how resilient they are when everything is easy. Nobody discovers their courage when life is comfortable. Nobody discovers their power when nothing is challenging them. You discover those things when life gets hard. You discover them when you don't have a choice. Think about some of the strongest people that you've ever met. Most of them didn't become strong because life was easy. They became strong because life forced them to become stronger. You see, the setback became the training ground. The pain became the teacher. The challenge became the catalyst. And I know some of you watching this don't even realize how much you've already survived. You're so focused on what's happening right now that you've forgotten everything you've already overcome. Take a moment and really think about it. How many situations did you once think would break you? And yet, here you are. Still standing, still moving, still fighting, still growing. And that tells me something. You're stronger than you think. You see, one of the hidden gifts of setbacks is perspective. Because pain has a way of showing you what's real. Pain exposes fake relationships. Pain exposes bad habits. Pain exposes limiting beliefs. Pain exposes weak foundations. Pain forces you to stop ignoring things you've been avoiding. And that's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Because sometimes the setback isn't destroying your life. It's revealing what needs to be rebuilt. Think about a house with a cracked foundation. If nobody discovers the crack, the entire house is at risk. But if the crack is found, now it can be repaired. And that's what setbacks often do. They reveal the cracks. Not because life is against you, no. But because life is giving you an opportunity to fix what would have eventually become a bigger problem. That's why some people come out of setbacks stronger and other people stay stuck. One group learns, the other group only suffers. And there is a difference. Pain by itself doesn't transform people, you see. Awareness plus action does. Let that sink in. Now, here's where things get really interesting, because successful people often experience setbacks too. Confident people experience setbacks. Powerful people experience setbacks. Purpose-driven people experience setbacks. The difference is not that they avoid adversity, though. The difference is how they interpret it. Most people ask, why is this happening to me? But the people who transform their lives ask, what is this trying to teach me? That's a completely different question, you see. One creates victimhood, the other creates growth. One keeps you stuck, the other moves you forward. You see, every setback carries information. Every challenge contains a lesson. Every disappointment has something to teach you, but you have to be willing to look for it, because if all you focus on is what you lost, you'll miss what you're gaining. And sometimes what you're gaining is far more valuable than what you lost in the first place. Think about your life. Would you have changed if everything stayed comfortable? Probably not. Most people don't change because they want to. They change because they have to. The breakup forces growth. The betrayal forces healing. The rejection forces self-discovery. The failure forces reinvention. The setback becomes the wake-up call. And while nobody enjoys those moments often become the turning points. The day everything changed. The day you stopped settling. The day you raised your standards. The day you got serious about your goals. The day you finally believed in yourself. The day you decided that enough was enough. Sometimes the setback isn't stopping your progress. It's starting it. And this is actually one of the reasons I wrote my ebook, Phoenix, From Stability to Power. Because so many people think they're broken when they're actually becoming. They think they're falling apart when they're really rebuilding something stronger. And one of the biggest lessons in that book is learning how to rise from difficult seasons without allowing the seasons to define you. Now, here's the part I really want you to hear. Your setback is not your advantage automatically. It becomes your advantage based on what you do with it. Because pain gives everyone a choice. You can become bitter or better. You can stay stuck or you can grow. You can replay the story forever or start writing a new one. And that's where personal responsibility comes in. Not because what happened was fair, not because what happened was okay, but because your future still belongs to you. Your future is still being written. Your next chapter hasn't happened yet. And that's powerful because it means today's setback does not get the final say, you see. You do. So if you're going through a difficult season right now, I want you to really remember this. Don't judge your life from the middle of the story. Don't assume that because something hurts, it's harming you. Don't assume that because something ended, your future ended with it. Some of the greatest blessings in your life may be hiding inside the things you currently don't understand. Some of your greatest strengths may be developing in this very moment. Some of your biggest opportunities may be growing from the soil of your current setback. The truth is, the people who create extraordinary lives aren't the people who avoid the setbacks. They're the people who learn how to turn setbacks into stepping stones. And maybe that's exactly what this moment is. Not a dead end, not a punishment, not a failure, a stepping stone, a lesson, a redirection, a preparation season, a setup for something greater. And if you keep moving forward, one day you'll look back and realize that the thing you thought was breaking you was actually building you. Peace, blessings, love, and power.